and thus your wellness. It's that simple, and in the process, you will change your future. The best tools you have to change that future are the combination of the Zone diet plus high-dose, ultra-refined fish oil. Two other tools, although not nearly as powerful as diet, are smart exercise and stress reduction to reduce the collateral damage induced by inflammation. All of these approaches combined provide what I call the Zone Lifestyle Program. It will only take you 30 days to begin to master these tools that will change your future. Don't take my word for it. Your blood will confirm it loud and clear. But this is only a start, because you have to use these tools on a lifetime basis to keep inflammation under control. Keep in mind that the day you stop fighting inflammation is the day you start accelerating the aging process, along with all the chronic diseases that come with it. Yes, losing excess body fat will be a key component in your lifelong struggle against inflammation. This is because it is excess insulin that not only makes you fat and keeps you fat, but also increases inflammation. However, as important as losing excess body fat is, it will not be nearly as important in your battle against inflammation as the use of high-dose, ultra-refined fish oil. Another goal of this audiobook is to alert you about a new epidemic of a type of inflammation that is below the perception of pain. This is known as silent inflammation. That's what makes it so dangerous. You don't know it's there, although it's constantly eroding your wellness until chronic disease erupts decades later. More important, I will teach you how to bring the level of silent inflammation in your body under control with the least amount of effort on your part. I emphasize the phrase with the least amount of effort, since all change, no matter how positive, induces some stress. I promise you that within a 30-day period, if not sooner, you will find your life dramatically improved. And when you take the appropriate clinical test, your blood will validate your movement to a new state of wellness. This is the kind of change that we can all welcome. The continuous control of inflammation is the foundation of the Zone. However, it usually takes at least a year before such habits become ingrained in your lifestyle. So view this as a wellness manual that you will refer to constantly to reinforce the necessary dietary and lifestyle skills. More important, you have to have some objective measurement of the benefits of these hormonal changes. I don't want you to simply take my word for it, even though it is true that you can change your hormonal levels in just one meal, and that you feel, think, and perform better in just a few days once you are in the zone. That's why I want you to track your changes and ultimately quantify them. Changes in your blood chemistry determine the true extent of your new state of wellness. These blood tests give you a laser-like insight into your future, as they are the most precise markers of silent inflammation known to medical science. That's why reaching the anti-inflammation zone gives you the potential to change your future and redirect it into whatever direction you wish. If your future currently looks bleak because of high levels of silent inflammation, don't worry, because you can change it within 30 days. And once you've done so, you're on the pathway to making wellness a permanent state. If you don't master your hormones, then your present will become your future. That's what this program is all about. It gives you the potential to change your future and redirect it into whatever direction you want to take. Welcome to the anti-inflammation zone and the return to wellness. What is wellness? We assume we have it, and we take it for granted until we're sick. You probably think of wellness as simply the absence of chronic disease. If you aren't sick, then you must be well. That definition simply won't cut it, because it takes years, if not decades, for diseases like heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and Alzheimer's to finally emerge. The seeds of chronic disease are planted at an early age, sometimes as early as our childhood. Our genes, body weight, dietary habits, and physical fitness all determine whether we're in a state of wellness and whether we are already moving toward chronic disease in the years to come. They also determine whether we have a stealth killer, silent inflammation. Having increased levels of silent inflammation means you're not in a state of wellness. In fact, here's my personal definition of wellness. Wellness is the absence of silent inflammation. You may be asking yourself, what on earth is silent inflammation? Even more perplexing, how can inflammation be silent? Silent inflammation is simply inflammation that falls below the threshold of perceived pain. That's what makes it so dangerous. You don't take any steps to stop it, as it smolders for years, if not decades, eventually erupting into what we call chronic disease. I can't emphasize enough how strong the link is between silent inflammation and life-threatening chronic diseases. If you have high levels of silent inflammation in your body, even if you're not actively sick, it means that you simply cannot be well. Ironically, inflammation is the life-saving component of your immune system that helps fend off bacteria, viruses, fungi, and other microbial invaders. It also helps damaged tissue repair itself from injury. Without inflammation, we'd be sitting ducks in a very hostile world, with no way to repair the damage constantly being inflicted upon us. But inflammation also has a dark side if it isn't turned off. Study after study points to the myriad ways in which chronic inflammation does great harm to the body. It has a damaging effect on arteries, which can lead to heart attacks and strokes. It destroys nerve cells in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. It depresses the immune system and helps promote the formation of cancerous tumors. In essence, silent inflammation is the polar opposite of wellness. It lays the groundwork for chronic disease. What's more, it has become epidemic in America and threatens to destroy our healthcare system as we know it. The good news is, you can do something to alter your future if you're now on a course to chronic disease. You can achieve a state of wellness when it's still early enough to head off heart disease or diabetes. This, of course, requires you to take action. First, you need to know whether or not you're in a state of wellness or on the path to disease. If you carry excess body fat, eat poorly, and get little exercise, you're probably heading down the wrong track. That should be fairly obvious. But measuring the extent of silent inflammation in your body will reveal just how bad off you really are. What's amazing, though, is that your state of wellness can now be measured scientifically. Blood tests can reveal your level of silent inflammation. If you have high levels, you need to take the next course of action to move into the anti-inflammation zone, which is the pathway back to wellness. All pain is ultimately due to inflammation. Remember, inflammation is how the body defends itself against alien invaders like bacteria, fungi, viruses, parasites, and initiates the healing process the body requires to repair itself from injury. You generally begin to notice inflammation if you have a swelling in your joints and tissues, but you really begin to pay attention when it creates pain. This kind of inflammation manifests itself as what I call screaming pain. You know when you have it, and you probably deal with it by reaching for an anti-inflammatory drug like aspirin or ibuprofen. If those over-the-counter drugs don't work, then you may reluctantly go to your physician for more powerful drugs. If you ask your physician what inflammation actually is, he or she will simply tell you that it's very complex. This is medical shorthand for